A teenager accused of stabbing another student athlete at a track meet told officers as he was being taken into custody that he did it in self-defense.
Austin Metcalf was killed this week at that Frisco track meet. New documents detail what happened before and after 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony allegedly pulled a knife from his backpack and stabbed him. Fox 4's Alex Boyer joining us now live with the latest. Alex.
Hey guys, and in that 7-page arrest warrant affidavit, several witnesses, including Metcalf's twin brother, describe how that deadly encounter went down. The suspect then reportedly admitted to a Frisco police officer who detained him that he had stabbed Metcalf.
My son is gone, and I don't really have words. I've tried to figure out what I was going to say, but he's just going to be so missed.
The pain is still raw for the Metcalf family after 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was killed on Wednesday morning at a UIL District 11-5A track meet in Frisco.
That dude was extremely smart, always in the box. He just came to him real easy, and just him playing with football as well just made him just a great person overall.
Here's what happened according to witnesses and the police report. Metcalf got into an argument with the suspect, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, over a seating dispute in the bleachers. Metcalf told Anthony he needed to move from under the team's tent.
He always was one to step up and be the person that would do the right thing. And he was doing the right thing by saying to this gentleman that you're not supposed to be in this tent. This is because they have personal items there.
Anthony opened his bag and reached inside and said to Metcalf, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf reportedly grabbed Anthony and told him to move.
He knew he wasn't supposed to be there. He was it's just a tragedy what happened.
That's when Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Metcalf in the chest once before running away. When Anthony was taken into custody by a Frisco police officer, Anthony reportedly confessed to the crime, saying, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to," adding that, "I was protecting myself," and then asked the police officer, "Is he going to be okay?" Metcalf died in his brother's arms.
I'm not at that point to forgive and forget, but eventually I will. But I pray for his family. I pray that they understand what we're going through as well.
This whole community has really wrapped their arms around us, and if I could say anything to the nation, I would say to make sure that you just hug your babies tight, because you don't know when the last time you get to do it.
And in a statement released by the Metcalf family this afternoon, they say their focus is now on laying Austin to rest. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Anthony remains in the Collin County Jail with a $1 million bond. Back to you.
All right, Alex Boyer in Dallas tonight. Alex, thank you.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who will row. Salutations to the hopeful elect, the house of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth in sincerity and in truth. This is your brother Itazabam coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, it'll be edifying. All right. And as you're seeing in this video from Fox News, there was an incident that happened in Texas with a Jake got into an altercation with an Edomite, and the Jake ended up stabbing him. We don't know what really happened at the football game or whatever event they was at. I think it was a track meet. Don't know the full story. At the end of the day, that Jake, whatever happened, he wasn't using wisdom, of course. You know what I'm saying? That shit could have been prevented. But I want to get into it because I've seen on TikTok about this incident, and I was reading comments of what people were saying about the whole incident. People who just comment shit, They were basically trying to say that it was a hate crime. You know, they were bringing race into the altercation on why, you know, the Jake stabbed old boy. But, you know, those type of people, they're gonna want, you know, Esau, he's gonna be the one to use this as a basically as fuel to start speaking of like race wars and shit like that. You know, this is gonna turn into a race thing. And like I said, you know, nobody really knows what happened for the Jake to stab that kid, you know. But the scripture prophesies about a race war popping off, you know, as part of the end time chaos that will precede the return of Yahweh Shai. You know, these conflicts will arise from racial tensions. Okay, societal collapse and judgment upon Esau, the so-called white man. All right. Now, 100% that Jake was in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Now, his stupid ass is in jail, you know, because he didn't, you know, these 2/3, they don't have wisdom. But more incidences like this is going to happen and eventually spark an uprising amongst the nation of Edom and the nation of Israel. All right, Esau and these 2/3, you know, they're gonna be bumping heads, as it was, you know, prophesied from the beginning in Genesis chapter 25. All right, where it showed that Esau and Jacob have, you know, they've been enemies since the womb, according to Genesis chapter 25. All right, and in the last days, this enmity will escalate into full-scale racial conflict, leading to civil unrest and war in America and other parts of the world also, you know, as it is prophesied. All right. So let's get into some precepts. Let's go here. You know, this is very important. You know, this is 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 14. 15 and 14, it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." All right, the word woe means destruction. Okay, and the world that we're in right now is ruled by the wicked. All right, this current evil world, the way how this system is, this society, all right, is ruled by none other by Esau, the so-called white man. All right, so woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the courses of their actions shall stand in their power. All right, this prophecy describes civil war, riots, and race wars breaking out in the last days. Okay, it says one people shall stand up to fight against another. All right, which refers to the racial and ethnic groups fighting each other. Okay, 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, you wicked Israelites, you know, that's of the world and that's not abiding and following after Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai during Jacob's trouble, will fight against Esau and the other nations also. All right, whenever that time comes. Okay, whenever these conflicts arise even more from like racial tensions or black and so-called white incidences happening like this. All right. And it says in verse 15, it says with and swords in their hands, all right, which represents modern day weapons like the gun, all right, knives, and also military equipment. All right. And race wars is let me get it in this app. Race wars is part of Yahushai's prophecy. All right, that he spoke about. Race wars and all kinds of war that Yahushai spoke about and warned us about before his coming. All right, Matthew 24:4, it says, and Yahushai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right, so Yahushua warned us of the wars that we see popping off right now. All right, with the economic trade war between the U.S. and all these other nations, wars within America. All right, there's going to be an upcoming race war. All right, there's going to be one people fighting against another people. It's going to be the masses of the people fighting against their own government. All right, there's going to be civil unrest. No one is going to as it says right here in 16, they shall not regard their kings nor princes as, and they're not going to care about the law. They're not going to care about who's over them, telling them what to do and to stop all the chaos and whatnot. They're not going to care. In the courses of their actions, the things that they do, whatever they think shall stand in their power, as in they're going to, continue to cause more chaos. All right. They're not going to stop with all the war, with all the fighting, with all the killing each other over lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right. They're not going to want to comply to the new system. Some will. The majority of the people won't, like these so-called woke people, the so-called pride American patriotic rednecks, they're not going to accept the RFID CHIP in the new beast system. All right. These proud redneck Americans. All right, that may know a little bit of here and there about their own country and how corrupt it is. Whenever they roll out with the chip, most people, they're not going to want to bow down to the image because they know that that it's just wicked. All right. Verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Right. Even Americans are going to rise against Americans, well, so-called Americans. All right. These damn Edomites, they're going to rise up against each other. The scriptures say if Satan come against himself, his kingdom should not stand. You see? So there's going to be civil unrest here, as it is prophesied, for a nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And we have been seeing major large-scale earthquakes happening worldwide. All right. In Thailand recently, they got hit with a 7.7 earthquake, which killed over like 100 people. All right. There's been videos of people being inside of those tall skyscrapers, those tall apartments, just rocking back and forth and pool pool water falling off of the building and people in those pools, and they get wiped off from the top of the building and they fall to their death. All right, that was judgment from the Heavenly Father, and more of that is coming. Okay, more diseases. All right, that's the pestilences and famines. There's going to be a food shortage. All right, you got China and all these other countries, attacking America with tariffs. All right, so there's going to be a spike in prices. There's going to be a low shortage of goods. All right, prices are going to be so high, people are going to start stealing. All right, America is falling economically, and that is part of Bible prophecy, because that's what happened to ancient Rome. All right, ancient Rome got their financial system or their economic system crashed or taken down by the Most High, and then eventually the whole empire just fell. All right. Verse 8, it says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. All right. And going back to verse 7, the word nation in the Greek means it's a ethnos, meaning ethnic group. All right. This shows that ethnic conflicts and race wars will happen before the return of our Savior. Okay. And it also includes civil wars, global military conflicts, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. All right. That we see now on a low level, but the Most High is putting a spirit upon these world leaders, the spirit of war. All right. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah, chapter 19, and verse 2, it says, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight, everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Right, the Egyptians, all right, are the modern day Americans, according to Revelation 11 and 8. All right, which says that that this land is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt. Okay, this means that the Edomites, the so-called white people, will turn against each other, leading to civil unrest. Okay, government breakdowns, government shutdowns. All right. And internal wars within this land. All right. And like the scriptures say, if Satan is divided against himself, his kingdom should not stand. All right. So all of this, the race wars is prophesied in the scriptures, and it's gonna happen. All right. We see with there was an incident in Ohio, I believe, with I think it was Antifa or some white supremacist group. They were, dressed in all black, and they had them shades on, and they had their face covered, and they were waving a Nazi flag, just I believe on the highway or freeway or like a bridge or something. And then like a group of jakes came up and started to complain, and they started saying all types of niggers and stuff like that. And now you have Jake basically making a new Black Panther party with them basically patrolling their neighborhoods with guns. Esau's blessing, the carnal blessing. All right. And you live by the sword, you shall die by the sword. All right. So for them Jakes to be out there walking around with fucking guns, man, they're just carnal, and the Most High is not dealing with them. All right, they're gonna fall by the sword. They're gonna get killed by Esau. All right, that's the beginning entrance of a race war. All right, Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 24. It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. All right. So whenever society collapses, people will turn against each other. All right. The scriptures say that a man's foes are they of his own household. All right. So you're going to have family members. You're going to have brothers. You're going to have close friends turning against each other in these last days. All right. There's going to be a lot of things happening that's going to bug people the hell out. All right. People are going to be in fear. Okay. The scriptures say that the love of many shall wax cold, because iniquity have abounded. Iniquity, sin, evil has overtaken them. All right. Leading to a race war. All right. Riots. And also urban warfare. All right. There's going to be a whole bunch of fights coming in these cities, in these neighborhoods, city against city. All right. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, people against people, different races of people coming against each other. All right. This will especially affect America. All right. Where racial tensions are already at an all-time high. All right, between Jacob and Esau. All right, the Israelites against the Edomites. All right. Let's get Jeremiah 30:7, because that's talking about Jacob's trouble that's coming, man. All right. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. And that day is whenever all hell break loose in the streets. Okay. So that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. All right. Jacob's trouble is going to be trouble, as it says, it is Jacob's trouble. So it's going to be trouble for the children of Jacob, who are the Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. It says, but he is talking about the elect, the 144,000. All right. They shall be saved out of it, because they're not going to partake in what's going on in this wicked world. All right. They're focused on the return of Yahushua. They're focused on applying these beautiful words and instructions of the scriptures into their life, so that they may be protected whenever all out hell breaks loose. All right, so that the Heavenly Father can hide them underneath his wing. All right, but these 2/3, these wicked Israelites, these wicked niggas, these wicked bitches, these wicked, women, Eves, all right, and Jake, they're going to be out there. They're going to be out there getting gunned down by the military. They're going to be out there getting killed by each other, killing each other. All right. While the Lord's chosen, his elect, they're going to be dwelling safely. All right. They're going to be stable in these times. As the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. You see? So Jacob's trouble. All right. Esau will target Israelites with violence, with martial law and persecution. Okay. This will include FEMA camps, more police killings, and white supremacist groups. attacking Jake. All right. Esau's little militia groups that he got out there, the KKK, Antifa, whoever else is out there, private fucking military trained so-called white people, just like gathered up, getting ready. All right. They're getting ready. They're fucking training. They're teaching their kids how to shoot guns and aim and fucking maneuver. All right. There's a spot where I live at. It's like a laser tag building, where people going, they play some laser tag. But the way how the arena is set up like you're going into like a room, and it got like different corners and shit. You got to cut corners, you got to check your corners, you got to maneuver. And the laser tag guns that they have, they look like real life guns. All right. And I've been there a couple of times, and I'll tell you, them damn Edomites train in that motherfucker. They train. All right. There's been a couple of times where I'm just playing just to have fun and shit. Them damn Edomites in there, they are training. All right. And while I was up in there, I was thinking like, damn, this is getting them ready for what's coming. All right. It's like putting it, that whole laser tag game is putting into their brain to get ready for what's coming. All right. And they also do like private training sessions. They do training for the police force, people who were in the military. They go up there and they do private lessons, and they bring their actual their real guns in there. It might be unloaded or whatever, and they just sweep through rooms and go in as a group and clear out a room, clear out an area, doing all types of military movements and shit like that. So these damn Edomites, man, they are getting ready for an all-out war within America. All right. But however, the elect of Israel will be delivered from this destruction that's coming. All right. That's enough rambling. Genesis 27. And let's get 39. If I can find it right here. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him. All right, so to break this down, this is about Isaac gave Jacob and Esau blessings. All right. Jacob was blessed with the promise of the kingdom of heaven. All right. And Esau was blessed, is going to tell you right here. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. All right, so Esau was blessed with the military power that he has now, and his weaponry. All right, his weaponry. Okay, this is why Esau controls the police force, the military, and private militias. All right, they will use forces like these against the Israelites. All right, Esau was blessed with the fatness of the earth. He owns everything. He runs everything. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. All right. And what I was talking about earlier, with the whole laser tag thing, you can literally, I literally seen that they, I'm not gonna lie, they're nice. They're nice with their blessing. Esau is a cunning hunter. All right. He is a killer. He's a natural born murderer. Okay. So whenever all hell breaks loose and society collapses, all right, Esau is going to be out here, man. It's private militias, the military. They're going to be out here, man. They're going to be coming after Jake. Okay? During this race war. All right, let's go to the book of Isaiah. 13 and 14. It says, and it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Okay? So there's going to be racial segregation. All right? And it will happen naturally. Okay? Whenever all this hell break out and people start seeing what's going on in the streets, and people going to be, getting afraid and be wanting to, they're going to start to go back to their own people. All right? They will stick to their own kind whenever war and chaos break out. Okay? And all manner of nations are here in the land of America, Babylon the Great. Okay? They will try to go back to their own land of people. Many of them will die in the streets, but the elect will be protected. Okay? Let's get Psalms 91. All right. Psalms 91 in verse 7, it says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. All right, talking to the elect. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. So during the race wars and chaos, the elect of Israel, the 144,000 and the righteous 1/3, will be protected by the Most High. Okay? The elect, they will receive spiritual power under Yahushua and destroy the house of Esau. Okay? The elect, they're not going to be affected by all this war that's going to be happening in the streets, because the Lord say that his servants are going to be safe. All right. The elect, they're going to be safe, man. So Jacob's trouble is judgment for the 2/3, man. You see, these race wars, there's going to be riots and protests coming. All right. And the elect, they're not going to participate in those riots or protests. All right. Like those knuckleheads that are a part of those other camps. All right. One of the t-shirt fringed camps. I'm not going to say their names, but they were at a rally or protest, I believe in California, where the Latin tribes, all right, basically shut down the whole freeway, and then you see Jake with some fringes running around with a so-called Mexican flag. All right. The elect, they're not going to partake in worldly things like that, worldly concerns and protests and commotions. All right, that's not for us, and that's not who we are. That's not what the elect is going to do. All right, leave all that worldly shit for the 2/3, man. Let them be destroyed, man. All right, this is Obadiah 1:18. All right. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, hath spoken it. Okay? After Esau wages war against the Israelites, ultimately upon the elect, all right, the woman, as that is spoken about in the book of Revelation, the woman that is with child, all right, that's talking about the 144,000, all right, whenever they come to persecute the men of the Lord and force their mark, all right, whenever they make that mandatory, all right, Yahweh Shai will return and give the elect spiritual power to destroy Esau completely. All right, they're going to be destroyed completely after they serve their time in captivity. All right, this is the ultimate end of all these wars. All right, the ultimate end is going to be the nuclear missiles during World War III, the war that will end all wars. All right. So the elect is going to win. All right, winning and ruling over all nations, starting with Yahweh Shai ruling first and foremost. All right. So race wars, civil unrest, people fighting against each other, city against city, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. All right. Race against race is coming. All right. Everything that we see now is just the beginning of sorrows. It's going to get worse. So with that, Lord willing, you were edifying. Call Halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us his truth and who were will. Salutations to the elect and the house of David. Till next time, Shalom.